There are so many fun, crazy projects that I've done in my life that I couldn't possibly mention them all in the Who Am I video. One of those crazy projects, and it's a big one too, is the Atomic City project.
Towards the camera, keep going.
Towards the camera, keep going.
It took over 10 years of my life and over $250,000 of my own money. It never took off, but it's quite a fun project. Maybe one day it will, I don't know. But I thought I'd tell you about it because it's kind of cool. I grew up in the 60s and I loved shows like Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, Gilligan's Island, Get Smart. It was quite an interesting era because in the 50s and 60s, we just came into atomic power. We didn't know what was possible. We were just starting to send men into space. Nobody knew what was possible scientifically. And all these science fiction things started coming out, and the government was trying everything, like death rays and mind control beams and all this crazy stuff. And it was also the Cold War. So at the time, the paranoia was, if we're coming up with these ideas, I'm sure the Russians are too. So the government was spending so much money, all these crazy ideas, from flying saucers to death rays to mind control beams. Half of it never worked, but I thought, gee, that's a great idea for a TV series. But I like silly, feel-good stuff like Gilligan's Island and Get Smart. And James Bond was actually kind of imaginary, fun. Also, Casino Royale and stuff like that. I wanted to have a TV show. And the reason I chose TV show instead of movies, because you could just keep coming up with crazy ideas indefinitely. You could just keep going. And it doesn't cost as much and you can just churn them out. Anyway, I create stuff that I would want to see. And I miss the feel-good stuff from the 60s, like Gilligan's Island and stuff. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to come up with a series that was just total fun and wacky, and it was just so creative, and it came up with it was based on all these crazy ideas we came up with in the 60s.
Damn, there's something going on in Area 53.
Are you alright? Hello?
Mensch, wo bin ich? Wie heißen Sie?
Wow, you're French.
Who are you?
Stan. Stan Velvet.
She starts spouting all this rocket science in 12 different languages, and she has no idea who she is or where she came from. And the idea was that he would put her up and take care of her, and the mystery was, who is she? Where did she come from? Why is she speaking 12 different languages and rocket science and all that? Why was she wearing a spacesuit? Who is this mysterious girl?
I don't remember anything.
You're right.
No, I really don't.
Honey, I'm not trying to pry. I'm just trying to help.
I know.
She won't remember a thing. I made sure of it.
Each episode, they find a different device hidden in the desert somewhere in some secret tunnel or whatever.
Wow, you have Schliemann's reverse inversion book? Es ist sehr einfach in Lock in die Zeitgeschwindigkeit umzusehen. Wenn man es rückwärts ansehen kann, meint überhaupt mit Songs.
She knows German hyperphysics?
And they just love to go investigating and get into trouble and stuff like that. So that was the original idea. Remember the TV series in the 70s called Vegas with Robert Urich, who played a character named Dan Tana? I thought it was really cool how he had a remote control in his car and he would drive it right into the back of a casino, which is where he lived. Well, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if somebody actually lived not in the casino, but in the casino sign? These things are huge and they're really cool, and a lot of them were designed in the 60s. So I thought, okay, so he pushes a button, a door opens up, and he pulls into a casino sign, which has a spaceship built into it, which looks like something out of the Jetsons. Well, he turns this spaceship into his home with a great view of Las Vegas, and that's where he lives. So I thought, this is the great setting for the star of the show. I would love to live in a casino sign that has a spaceship in it, and that's my home. Everything that I'm doing is something that I wish I could experience. One of my crazy ideas originally was, let's actually build this thing and charge people to spend the night, like a super exclusive experience, you know, that you'd spend $5,000, $10,000 a night to stay at. Anyway, so that was the original idea of the show, that these two goofy people would run into trouble every week, and it would be silly like Austin Powers, and they'd save the world or, you know, crazy stuff. The problem was Hollywood didn't get it. the people in charge just couldn't wrap their brain around, wait a minute. Does this take place in the 60s? No, it takes place present day. Okay, so they find the secrets of, yeah, and he's an Elvis impersonator, yeah. And it was just too many things swirling around. It wasn't like simple, it wasn't a simple idea, and it wasn't easy to explain, and nobody got it, so it never went anywhere. So then I thought, okay, a few years went by, and I thought, well, why don't I actually set this thing in a fantasy 1960s that never existed? Let's create the future world that we thought the future was going to be like in the 60s. Let's actually have them live in the world of the Jetsons, where they have flying cars and robots that do things. And really low-tech buttons and knobs. I like how everything was low-tech back then, but it was the futuristic, but it was low-tech. It's a very light-hearted view of what we had in the 60s of what the future was going to be like, and that was it. It's basically a live-action Jetsons. And I thought, wouldn't it be a funny twist in the show where half of the stuff didn't really work? You know, like he'd go into a bathroom and push an automatic dispenser machine, but it would squirt something in his face, and the whatever. It just wouldn't, half the stuff just... And they were just irritated by this futuristic stuff. But anyway, so that was a simpler idea to pitch. But with an Austin Powers kind of humor twist, and the music track would have fun stuff like Tom Jones music, Engelbert Humperdinck, you know, stuff like that, where it's just total feel-good 60s vibe. It's like Gilligan's Island, Austin Powers, the Jetsons, and James Bond all rolled into one, set in a fantasy futuristic Las Vegas that I guess I could call Lost Vegas. I've obviously built a lot of miniature models for that. This is the casino sign for an imaginary casino that never existed, but anyway. And then flying cars, I built some miniature models for that. I love roadside America. I like, you know how you go down the road, and in the 60s they used to build like a big dinosaur on the side of the road, or a big giant frog or something, and it was a restaurant. And they made just the coolest ideas back, just crazy, silly stuff. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to have something called the Rat Pack Restaurant and Lounge, you know, the Rat Pack back in the 60s. Out front, they would have a big rat, and that this would be right in front of the restaurant, like a roadside weirdo thing that would attract people to the Rat Pack Lounge. So me being who I am, I thought, well, since you got this big rat out front and it's pretty big, it's like 30 feet high, wouldn't it be cool if somebody actually lived inside this thing? There's a door in the back, windows and everything. So I created a character, the Elvis impersonator's uncle lives inside here, and he's a big conspiracy nut, and he thinks the whole world's a conspiracy, and he lives inside, he's hiding inside this rat. And I made it so like the ears are satellite dishes, the antennas are radio antennas, and he hides in here.
I need your keys. Please. Come on. Have you lost weight?
Maybe a little bit. Hey,
You can have it back after you fix mine.
You take the car, but don't you get this one shot up. Yes.
He's got a little wrench hanging here for his water shut off. And the power box, if you look at it, it's just a pencil sharpener that I stuck to the side. Here's a little soda pop can lying on the gravel outside, and a pineapple juice box that just got tossed aside. Here's a garbage can by his front door with stuff in it. The grass, by the way, the desert grass is paintbrush bristles that I stuck in, and the gravel is kitty litter. Another miniature I built is the Orbit Coffee Shop. Has a little rocket ship orbiting around the top. I love this retro 60s pop culture kitschy architecture. There's little menus on the tables with salt and pepper and ketchup and little napkin dispensers. Nobody will ever see that stuff, but I like having it in there. I just love making miniature detail stuff. What amazes me is I just realized these models were built over 25 years ago out of paper and cardboard. And the fact that this thing still turns is amazing, but what amazes me even more is that the battery still works. That's pretty mind-blowing. There's definitely some magic to all of this. Now, a lot of the ideas that I had on the show were based on actual experimental things that were done in the 60s, like a turbine car. A turbine car has a little tiny jet engine in it that can run on anything. You could put shoe polish in this thing, it would run. And I thought, that's a cool idea. So the hero would drive one of these, and I thought, well, let's build one. Let's actually, make a cool looking car. So I designed the car to look like it was from that era. We bought an old Corvette and took the body off, and then had a custom built chassis built on this thing, and we used it in the pilot. How's this for a camera on a gimbal? Our biggest shoot day was Valley of Fire. I paid police to close off the roads, so it was just the car and me in the helicopter filming it from the air. This was quite a ride. I love hanging out the side of a helicopter with a camera. I had the whole Valley of Fire to myself with this beautiful custom car going down the road. This day was worth just the experience of filming. It was so much fun.
Of hot tickets this weekend, a new television series showcasing Las Vegas will premiere at Brendan Theaters.
It's called Atomic City, and it's described as a mixture of science fiction, humor, and adventure.
I got to see most of the pilot today, and it really is an interesting concept.
All right.
Wow.
Kind of a Las Vegas Jetsons, huh?
Yeah, completely different. Those models, when they were actually in the film version, look believable.
Real.
The idea was that this would be a half-hour show. You know, with commercials, they would be actually only 20 minutes long. And I said, okay, so every week we'd have a 20-minute episode. And that was the original idea. So I came up with all these silly storylines. That didn't go anywhere either. Why? Two things I had going against me. One gag that I had, I don't know how it got into this. I guess it's because it started with the Elvis impersonator because it was Vegas and all that. It kind of one thing led to another, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if everybody in the show looked like somebody famous? Like the police chief just happened to look like Robert De Niro.
You better do the right thing here with this mine detector business.
Can you believe all the people that have shown up for the party here tonight?
Anything for you, baby.
Isn't that your son up there? I'm so embarrassed.
Well, that looks different.
The mayor of the city happened to look like Tom Jones.
Because you have the power. You're the mayor of Las Vegas, for Pete's sake. Son. Yeah, Dad.
I thought that'd be a cute little gag, right? Well, unfortunately, that turned out to be quite a problem legally. Nobody wanted to touch a show that had lookalikes and impersonators for legal reasons, for licensing reasons. If the show became a big hit, the actual people that these stars look like would want a piece of the show. It was just nobody wanted to touch it for that reason. So I said, okay, we can take the impersonators out. Well, the other thing that I had going against me was this was a feel-good show. It was a colorful pop culture bubblegum feel-good show that was silly and fun, like Austin Powers, but the time when I was pitching this, which was the late 90s to early 2000s, grunge had taken over the music world and TV was all dark stuff in reality shows. Reality shows were a lot cheaper to make because you just hold a camera on a real person. You don't have to build any sets. You don't have to create any fantasy special effects or anything. And everybody wanted to see reality. They wanted to see people having miserable lives. And the irony was most of the reality shows are not reality anyway. They tell them to overact and over-dramatize the situation. But anyway, so the world did not want a feel-good fantasy, lighthearted, colorful, bubblegum pop culture show. And that was the downfall of this thing, and it never went anywhere.
Gosh.
Now, it might take off, who knows?
Yeah, kids these days, boy, they're not like they used to be. You know what I'm talking about?
And I guess another aspect or maybe possible profound reason this didn't take off is because if it did take off, I would have never gotten into the health field, and a lot of the people that I have helped since then probably would be dead. So I guess that there is a benefit to that, because this is kind of just silly. That's another thing. It seems like silly, mindless entertainment on the outside, but I wanted a heartwarming story with value and meaning, like a fairy tale always has some kind of moral to the story. And I wanted every episode to have, even though it was a lighthearted, funny thing, I wanted it to teach a little lesson in life, which, heartwarming stuff can do.
Hey, it's Vegas.
But it would have been an expensive show because it would be set in this fantasy world. You had to create all kinds of special effects and, and special sets and all that stuff. And that's really expensive. And nobody wanted to spend big money, at least back then. So that was my concept. And it might still take off, who knows, but I still have the 8-foot poster we used for one of the conventions. So let me just step back now and play a bunch of random clips so you can get a great idea of the fun we had making this project.
Is it supposed to do that?
No.
Wait a minute.
You still think he's secret agent man? Did you just say secret Asian man?
Sir, did you take the short bus to school?
And then the ground opened up, and I was like, oh, like that. And then a helicopter came out of the ground, and I was like, I swear it was here.
Yeah, I think they've been watching too many episodes of The X-Files.
A big metal plate. I said, come on. It wasn't
Son.
Workmen are scrambling with the final touches for tonight's festivities.
Oh, now you're messing with me.
Nothing. Nada. I mean, no records at all, and I hacked into the government mainframe. It's like she doesn't exist.
Weird aroma, man.
But I did get about 1,000 emails asking for her phone number.
Just a second, Mel.
Bonds. Savings bonds.
The festivities are beginning.
Baba Boy. Hey, Baba Boy. Now, give me maybe I want some more.
What do you want from that?
Is that mole on your face part of a government secret
Yes,
cover-up?
it's a camera. It's a camera. Say hello.
My life cannot be this boring and uneventful forever.
This will be a virtual smorgasbord of the wealthy and well-known.
I'm sorry.
I look just like Elvis when I go like this.
I worked on so many crazy things in my life, and as time goes by, I'm going to reveal some more and more of them for you. But this is another taste in the world of the fantasy world of Markus and the crazy things that he tries to do with his off time. I'm a little off in many ways in some people's eyes, but I don't care. I'm a kid. I refuse to grow up. I just want to have fun, and I want to give the world things that I personally want to enjoy. And that's it. I don't try to follow rules or regulations or what the trendy thing is out there. Just because everybody's doing reality shows, I don't want to do a reality show. I want to do a fantasy show. I want to do a fun. I want whatever everybody does. I do the opposite of that. When everybody goes towards Vegas, I drive away from Vegas and go on vacation in Palm Springs. So this is another crazy project I've done and worked on, and I'll reveal more of them as time goes by. I want to get back to some more photography tips and tricks in the next few videos, but I will reveal a few little moments of Markus' life and craziness. Just to throw that in there and throw you, whoa, I didn't know that, just throw you off a little bit, because that's life. Life is always throwing these little odd things at you, but you adapt and you have fun and you do the best with it. All right, so I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, follow your imagination, follow your dreams, and just try it out. You never know. It might take you in a whole new direction of life. That could be why you're here, is to help inspire the world. And, I think it's important to inspire people to have fun, because if you don't have fun in life, what's the use? We're not here to just have drudgery all the time. You need to enjoy yourself once in a while. And that's why I create the crazy projects that I do, to help people escape the reality of life. And I think we need a non-reality show once in a while to forget reality, because reality is just a little too weird lately, right? All right, so I'll see you in the next video. I hope I entertain you, and tell your friends about MarkusPix. I'll see you around in the next video. All right, bye.
When you're dry, blow it out your ass. I know a bullet hole when I see one, and I'm gonna put one between your fucking eyes.
Do you ever get your fingernails caught on that bug on your face?